Welcome to the Monetize Your Payments podcast, where we cover the entire payment facilitator ecosystem. If you are a SaaS company, ISV, or a marketplace interested in monetizing your payments, this podcast is for you. You will learn what it takes to monetize your payments, as well as find the vendors, suppliers, and organizations that will help you succeed. You are going to hear success stories, lessons learned, and advice from all sides and all angles across the payment facilitator ecosystem.
Having financial service paired with POS and management tools allows merchants and restaurateurs to focus on what they do best versus getting into the details of managing their payment system and POS integrated system.
This is episode 11 of the Monetize Your Payments podcast, and that was Jona Georgiou, the GM of Payments and Financial Services at Lightspeed. I'm your host, Greg Myers, and Jona is our special guest this week. Jona is from Toronto, Canada, and came into the world of payments in a unique way, as early in her career, she leveraged her statistics background to help a company solve a chargeback problem. She's been with Lightspeed for 2.5 years. Lightspeed powers small and medium-sized businesses. It is a cloud-based omnichannel platform that includes a point-of-sale system. According to Jona, having financial services paired with the POS and management tools allows merchants and restaurateurs to focus on what they do best instead of getting into the details of managing the point of sale. We've got a great conversation with Jona today, so let's jump right in. Hi, Jona, and welcome to the Monetize Your Payments podcast. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Greg. Happy to be here.
Good. Well, let's dive right in. Tell our audience a little bit about yourself, maybe where you grew up, where you went to school, where you currently live, a few things like that.
Sure. I'm from Canada, Toronto, Canada, and my educational background in e-com and statistics. I specialized honors in econometrics. Yeah, and I came into the world of payments by complete coincidence. And in my last year of university, I worked for a company that had a payment problem. And so specifically chargeback and fraud related problem. And because of my statistics background, they wanted me to go into finding the anomalies in their transaction processing and help them solve for that particular problem. Back then, PayFac or the concept of payment the way it is now wasn't really a thing. Accepting payments was not as simple as it is now. Yeah, and over the years, I helped a bunch of tech companies and SaaS companies evolve and bring payments, and I've done this for companies focused in North America as well as global markets. That's in a nutshell.
Okay, and today you're the GM of Payments and Financial Services at Lightspeed. So can you talk a little bit about your roles and responsibilities there?
Yeah, sure. So this is a new role for me at Lightspeed ever since I joined Lightspeed about 2.5 years, give and take 1 or 2 months. My mission has been to bring software and payments and financial service together and build a payment network where Lightspeed is the key ingredient for our SMB financial service. And we started with payments in North America not too long ago. And generally speaking, the role and also Lightspeed in the space has evolved. And I'm fascinated by innovation and the concept of helping merchants of any size to scale better, remove inconvenience, and drive incremental value is something I'm familiar with and I'm passionate about. And think we have a lot of value we can provide here for our merchants. This is a time of tremendous growth and transformation, both in the payment space as well as for Lightspeed. And I'm incredibly energized by the opportunity in this role, what's ahead of us. And as we enter into our next chapter, and personally as my next chapter in this new role, I'm super excited to be at Lightspeed, where, you find the brightest and the most technologically and creatively audacious in the industry.
So let's discuss Lightspeed. So tell the audience exactly what Lightspeed does.
Lightspeed powers small and medium-sized businesses in retail, hospitality, golf industries. It's a cloud-based omnichannel commerce platform, and we are in over 100 countries. We offer a point of sale that provides all-in-one solution to our SMBs. We generally serve the complex SMBs of the world, and we enable SMBs to sell across channels, manage operations, engage with consumers, accept payments, and ultimately grow their business. We started off as a POS solution provider, but we've evolved into a global commerce platform, which is super important for our to serve our SMBs moving forward.
Okay. And as the name of the podcast here indicates, we're going to focus mostly on the payments part of your business. So let's just start at the beginning and talk about payments. So how does your company help those small businesses with payments?
Lightspeed Payments allows SMBs to pair their POS with payments, which helps them to keep their business tools in a single place and also provides deeper insight about their business via payments analytics. Lightspeed Payments makes our POS solution a truly like that one-stop shop, which helps merchants grow and reinvent their business with the integrated payments. With Lightspeed technology, a merchant can focus and thrive on their craft. Meanwhile, on the background, we are taking care of the business side of things and money movement side of things. There's more than that, actually. There's the whole compliance, regulations, and whatnot that is actually looked after on their behalf. One main benefit is, to be honest, just the simplicity. We have transparent and simple pricing, no monthly minimums that a merchant has to maintain. Very easy to sign up process. Don't have to fill out like the 200 plus fields when you are signing up to just have a payment terminal. Dedicated support to answer any questions, teams that can help with chargeback management. And should the merchant need any help in just understanding analytics and chargeback management process, fraudulent behaviors, or any of that, we are able to provide that support. We also help them with this comprehensive kind of view into their POS integrated with payments on how their business is doing through comprehensive reports. Generally speaking, because the payments is tied into their POS system, it's kind of easy to give that one view of how their sales and fees and their payouts are working.
Okay. And I assume you handle all different types of methods of payment, whether that's different channels, whether that's retail, e-commerce, mobile. I assume you cover all of those.
That's right. Yeah. So it's the advantage there is that you get an omni-channel experience. So retail, the card present, card not present. You want a mobile device, a Bluetooth device, or a more sophisticated payment terminal, you'll have all those varieties with payments.
Okay. And how important would you say payments is to the overall business?
Oh, really important. It's a very important part of our business because it's where we can provide a lot of value and support to our customers while also finding new ways for them to connect with their consumers. So there's a very sure shot addressable market here that is looking for financial services or payment solutions that help support their business, help them grow, and reduce all the frictions of kind of payment processing that payment processing generally comes with. And providing access to these services further differentiates Lightspeed not just as a POS provider, but a broader solutions provider for the SMBs. Lightspeed already offers payments, and extending into these options of broader opportunities is like capital as an example is a natural evolution. And Lightspeed Payments is kind of what I'd say a key ingredient to our customers' financial success, because we've seen customers themselves being able to accept payments and kind of get the value on where the recurring customers are and what their daily or seasonality or volume looks like. So that's some of the feedback we've received. And having financial service paired with POS and management tools allows merchants and restaurateurs to focus on what they do best, versus getting into the details of managing their payment system and POS integrated system.
Okay. And obviously you do more than payments, but it's obviously a very integral part. So do you consider yourself a payments company?
I'd say Lightspeed is all about making small and medium-sized businesses more successful and more scalable. And payments plays a huge and very important role in doing just that.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about how you integrated payments into the POS and the solution. I mean, why not just outsource payments? What was the driving reason that you wanted to integrate it into the overall system that you have?
We wanted to provide a one-stop shop solution, a single solution for our customers. And we wanted to make running a business easy and accessible. So having a single point of contact and a single point of truth for payments, your hardware, your tools, really makes a huge difference for our merchants who usually are busy running their business. So the decision to have integrated payments seemed like a natural one because it gives so much more to our merchants because every merchant has to take payment and has to process payment. So might as well get more of the complexities away from the merchant and bring it in-house and provide better experience for our merchants. And having a single provider for payments and POS allows them to really tie together that consumer data and have more working information about their business and their customers. And it's also like a faster way to manage processing. Like if you don't have an integrated payment mechanisms, you're basically doing an entry in your POS, then removing yourself and putting in the amount on a terminal and processing that way. And it kind of may increase the chance of manual error, and integrated, I strongly believe, reduces that. And it also cuts down on all the security related issues that one might have. We're very big on that, and it kind of extends that kind of concern over to our merchants that they can leverage from our expertise there.
Right. And we hear a lot about in this integrated space how important the user experience is. I mean, sometimes to the point of their customers demanding it and saying, if you don't integrate payments into what you provide, which could be any type of software to help them run their business, that user, that customer typically drives a lot of times the reason that someone integrates payments, and they want that seamless user experience. So can you talk a little bit about the user experience for your customers and how you guys have made that very simple for them with the integrated payments?
Yeah. So integrated payments, like the whole point to it, and I think a lot of other companies has the same intention, is just it's important to get that simplicity element into the experience. And user experience is paramount for Lightspeed and for our customers. So they cannot scale their business unless their customers have the ability to make seamless purchases, right? And feel like they are placing an order that's secure and they don't have to worry about that. And this space is so fragmented, and SMBs in general are underserved. So when we look at Lightspeed overall, we want our customers to have a seamless experience with us, where we are their complete commerce platform and that helps them run their business. We are very focused on providing a customized, localized experience. As an example, I mentioned we launched in North America for Lightspeed Payments, but we also support, if there's a need for payments globally, we just partnered with DLocale in South America. And it's not through Lightspeed Payments, but it's still through a partnership that'll allow our merchants to accept a variety of payment options that they're looking for. And these are local payment methods that were generally just something like a Visa and MasterCard were supported initially. So that opened up a lot of avenues for our merchants. So we look at payments overall, and the main thing is how do we empower our merchants to run a business, be it in North America through Lightspeed Payments or maybe something like is what I mentioned in South America with DLocale. Part of that is ease of use and access for their customers. And another example is on the e-com side. We're always launching new themes. So we just launched a new Ignite theme to create a better flow and better shopping experience for our end users. So the whole customer journey from start to finish is a complete Lightspeed experience. And that's the role we play for our SMBs.
Okay. You've mentioned a term a couple of times, and I want to ask about it. You call it Lightspeed Payments. So why, if you can answer this question, why was it decided to actually brand payments? I mean, there must have been a reason that you didn't just say, hey, we're adding payments, that you actually have a brand name for it. So can you talk about that decision a little bit?
The brand component is because so we use processes in the background, which most people do. And what we've done is taken on the concept of starting from wanting to sign up for the POS. And while you sign up for your POS, you want to sign up for payments. And we called it Lightspeed Payments because it's all within the Lightspeed realm, because the whole onboarding, underwriting, just the merchant experience from until they get their terminal and become transactional is all, the heavy lifting is done by Lightspeed on obviously rails of acquirers and processors, but main UI and front-end experience is all us. It wouldn't matter if you are in North America or globally. It doesn't matter who is plugged in on the back end. It's all you as a merchant, it would be Lightspeed Payments.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. Let's touch on a few of what I call the big drivers in payments. Maybe not what a merchant sees, but kind of the people who have been in payments a while kind of understand some of these as challenges. One of them is risk, which is a very broad term. You can have reputational risk, payment risk, a lot of different categories of risk. So how important is that? How do you manage risk? How do you look at risk? Obviously, as the GM of payments and financial services, risk is important. But can you talk a little bit about what you do from a risk perspective?
Yeah, risk is interesting, and it comes with so many different nuances. And like you mentioned, it's just not one type of risk: transactional risk, payment risk, reputational risk, credit risk. So we've gone through this before our Lightspeed Payments setup, and we have numerous preventive measures that were put in place, and we constantly work towards tackling different segments of risk, and starting with merchant and credit risk, like just right from the start when a merchant applies to be, processing payments. So starting with that, we have real-time tools that identify bad actors and checks for your KYC, which is know your customer, know your business, ensure we know who we are boarding and supporting. So that experience is kind of crucial because if done incorrectly, you might deter good merchants, and if done correctly, it'll obviously stop you from any kind of fraudulent behavior or credit risk that you might be porting into your system. It is also our responsibility, to be honest, to support our merchants against some of the bad actors. We have an entire team of experts who look at anomalies in transactions, help detect fraud. In addition, we help merchants with their chargeback rebuttals to, if there's a payment or a sale made and the merchant truly feels that they can support that sale, we ensure that we support them and we present these cases to the networks. So this way, we're not only thinking about our risk, we kind of extend our expertise to our merchants. And providing an integrated experience also means that these transactions need to be secured. So we are PCI DSS level 1 compliant.
Okay. Yeah. And that's sort of a segue into the next question, which is really, talking about fraud and security. So obviously two different topics, but somewhat similar. And you mentioned that you're PCI compliant. So do you take that whole security sort of PCI challenge that merchants have? Do you do you then take that off their plate by being integrated the way you are?
We kind of support them, giving them the right tools, and we do have means on how to support them. Again, Lightspeed Payments is relatively new, and so we use tokenization, we use different mechanisms to kind of take that out of their scope. But again, it's something it's kind of a value add to when they integrate with Lightspeed Payments completely.
Okay. And if you don't mind, what was the most painful part of integrating payments?
Honestly, it just took a while to get started. And the complexity of payments, it comes with a lot of compliance rules, regulations that one has to follow. All things that are possible. It just takes time and to get underwritten as a company on our own, and lots of negotiations, understanding payment nuances by processor. Some processors have great economics, but they're not ideal as a partner, and they don't have ideal customer experience, or they offer a canned product that generally works, but doesn't bring real innovation and solution other than just the concept of, here, take your payment and accept it. So those were some of the first few challenges, I'd say. And it's so important to get that right kind of customer experience. And you just have to sit back and think, okay, I know these regulations exist. I know we need to follow rules and network rules, regulations, and compliance. But how do we make it so we take that burden and the merchant doesn't have to feel that experience? Once you tackle that big question and kind of create a product that tackles those big nuggets, rest becomes much easier. And when you have a strong and valuable product in the market, customers can easily see the value because especially the ones who've had a business running for a while, they've gone through that experience of connecting with like the legacy partners and processors, so to speak. That was, I think, I'd say the most painful part. The painful part currently for me specifically is there is so much that can be done in this space from an innovation standpoint, but some of these regulations and compliancy stuff are not completely panned out and thought through just yet. And I just feel that there's a lot that can be done by networks and acquiring banks and just generally speaking processors that is just not fast enough.
Right. I don't know that speed is something that is often part of a payment conversation, to be honest with you.
Speed in the sense of innovation. But if you think about speed of bringing, it's not just about, when you think about payment, it's not accepting credit cards. It's about speed in innovation. There's so much coming with buy now, pay later, or accepting payments through checkout flows that are just on your website. You have one click and it's all done. That's what I mean. That innovation is not fast enough in the payment space.
Right. I would agree with you there. Well, Jona, we've covered a lot of ground from your background in Lightspeed and then obviously about integrated payments. Is there anything else that you'd like to share about monetizing payments or anything about your company that you'd like to share?
Well, Lightspeed started as a POS company, and we see ourselves as a global commerce platform, and payments, as I mentioned, is a crucial piece to that. Strategy is really thinking about, from a global perspective, how do we help entrepreneurs power financial service and commerce pieces of their business, whether that's brick and mortar, retail, e-com, hospitality, golf, regardless. And it's truly a remarkable company, generally speaking, in terms of diversity and just the culture. And I'm super proud to be a Lightspeeder.
I like it, Lightspeeder. Well, Jona, thank you so much for being on the show. I really appreciate your time and all of your insights. So what would be the best way for people to learn more about you and your company?
Lightspeedhq.com.
Okay, great.
That's the best part.
Great. So, Jona, again, thank you so much for being on the show. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Greg. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us this week on the Monetize Your Payments podcast. Make sure you visit our website at monetizeyourpayments.com, where you can subscribe to the show and where you will find our show notes. If you would like to be on the show or have a suggestion for a guest, please email greg@monetizeyourpayments.com.